Whether we like it or not, mathematics is life. Ever had a cake with too much sugar? Someone screwed up on the math. Ever see a crooked house? That's because carpenters say, measure twice, cut once. Proficiency in math is proficiency in life. Ever thought that if the Earth's atmosphere wasn't exactly 78% oxygen, 21% nitrogen, and 1% other gases, you probably wouldn't be listening to this? Well, at least not sitting up, anyway. So admit it, you humanities majors. It's obvious. Math is life. If you're as old as President Obama, you probably remember what was called New Math, which was adopted by American public schools in the 1960s. If you're unfamiliar with the New Math of that era, just look at the Common Core curriculum of today and you'll get the point. I'm not exactly sure why it happened the way it did, but I'm one of the survivors of the New Math, which made about as much sense as the implementation of New Coke. I vividly remember those dreadful days of 8th grade, staring at the math problems on the board as if they were Japanese poetry. Up until that time, I'd been classified as a high academic achiever, but understanding would not come. I couldn't grasp the concepts. None of it made sense. To be fair, I'll assign 25% of the blame for my sudden math lapse on my lack of comprehension. I'll also accept another 25% of the blame, even though it was due to the class seating arrangement, the primary problem being that directly to my left sat the increasingly gorgeous Amanda, whose blossoming womanhood was giving an entirely new meaning to the term New Math. But that's all the blame I'm taking. I won't blame my parents, for they were as dumbfounded as I was. They'd been taught math that hadn't been pruned and politicized. I won't blame the teacher. He was actually a great guy who desperately wanted to help me learn. So I believe that leaves about 50% of the fault in the hands of the progressive education bureaucrats who were intent on fundamentally transforming, in other words, dumbing down and confusing, America's public school children. And in my case, they were quite successful, for to my horror and everyone's astonishment, I failed. I would be required to spend 6 weeks that summer reliving what I hated most. Upon arriving at summer school, I was relieved to find that Amanda wasn't there. Unfortunately, many of her peers were. And since, of course, this was summer school, comfort was utmost in everyone's mind. Hence, Amanda's peers were often clad in unnervingly short and revealing apparel. But most intriguing of all was that every day, at least one of the math challenge minxes was wearing a pair of those cheap rubber flip-flops, featuring toenails painted a lovely soft shade of pink. Yes, you guessed it. I cannot remember that teacher's name. I have long since forgotten anything I learned that summer, yet I can still effortlessly recall the sight of some of those lovely pink painted nails, and in some cases, the actual color of the flip-flops. Eventually, I would leave the trauma of New Math behind and somehow earn a business degree. I'm still no math whiz, but one thing I've never had trouble with was logic, which was why in 2008, when Barack Obama was elected President of the United States, I found myself experiencing New Math anxiety flashbacks. Mr. Obama has a new Math that apparently is only understood by enlightened liberals and progressive socialists. But I just can't grasp his concepts. None of it makes any sense. Only this time, it's worse. Because this time, I don't much care for the teacher. This time, the teacher believes I'm stupid. This teacher has no interest in solving problems. The only thing this teacher wants me to understand is that he's in charge. Go to the website usdebtclock.org and try to convince yourself that Barack Obama gives a damn about the future of America. Sure, Obama's new math adds up for the government elitists, government unions, adherents of the New World Order, and society's ever-growing pool of eager takers. But what about you? USDebtClock.org. Take a close look. Study each category. Whether you want to believe it or not, Barack Obama's new math will one day soon affect every area of your life for the rest of your life. If you want to make any claim on adulthood, what you see at usdebtclock.org should make you awfully mad. Can you really believe government stimulus leads to prosperity? Still think America can survive? Still think President Obama is just a decent guy trying to do the best he can? Remember how you despised George W. Bush for his measly record debt of $6 trillion? Do you really believe Obama's debt of nearly $18 trillion can be navigated with accounting tricks, or even more laughably, repaid? Can the American economy, your lifestyle, or the future of your children and grandchildren survive Barack Obama's new math? Can this end well? Like I learned back in 8th grade, it can happen here. It can happen to you. America can fail. USDebtClock.org. My advice? Buy your pink nail polish now. You may one day want to drink it.